Okay, good afternoon. So let's continue our discussion on applications of the time value of money. One example, one application is if we have, if you're comparing projects and these projects are mutually exclusive, which means that you have to choose only one. However, the projects are have different time frames. So just like this, si Project A dito, 6 years yung cash flow niya. Si Project B, 4. Si Project C, uh, 5 years. Tapos si Project D, 8 years. No? Technically, how do you solve problems like this? Yung may unequal lives. Okay, mathematically, ang mangyayari dyan, dapat kukunin natin yung least common denominator nila. No, ng 6, 4, 5, at saka ng 8. Okay, so ano ba yung least common denominator ng 6, 4, 5, and 8? And then, ang gagawin natin dyan para equipment replacement problem. So for example, ang least common denominator nila, let's see si 6 ano ba? So 6, and then 5, and then you have, ano to? 6, and then 4, and then 5, and then 8. How do we compute for the least common denominator? So this is 3 and 2, diba? Ito naman, si 4, 2 and 2. Ito, 5 and 1. Tapos si 8 is 2 and 2 and 2. Yung prime factorization nila. So, therefore, ang least common denominator nila, 3 is used once. And then C2 is 3 times, no? So 2 times 2, yung pinakamarami, no? 2 times 2 times 2. And then C5 is once. Okay, wala nang iba, di ba? Alright, so 120. So ibig sabihin, dapat mag-generate tayo ng cash flows na 120. So medyo mahirap yon kasi kunyari ito uulitin natin si 6 ng 20 times. No? We're going to repeat this 20 times. Si 4 naman uulitin natin ng 30 times. Si 5 uulitin natin ng ilan? 24 times. And then si 8, ulitin natin ng 120 divided by 8, that's 15 times. So, in other words, just to illustrate that, Control C, this is what will actually happen. Control V. Tapos uulitin natin to. Control V. So this is your 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. So dapat mag-generate tayong 120 nito. Just to show you yung the brute force to do this. Okay. So in other words, uulitin natin tong cash flow na to. Okay, and then uulit natin siya dito. So if I add this, so what happens now is this will be repeated. Okay. Mangyayari, 120 years na uulitin natin yung cash flow na yan. So, bali ganito, no? Pagdating ng year 6, uulit na naman tayo dito. Bali, yung 0 pupunta na naman dito. Tapos uulitin natin yung cash flow na yan. So, when we add this, 7, 8 yun. Tapos ito pare-pareho lang. So what happens now is that itong 7, 8 na to, pagdating dito sa 12, okay, dito kasi magiging okay, 12, 6. Hindi mo nakakalito, no? Kasi pagdating dito dapat 7, 8 dito. So dapat yung year 6 dito dapat magiging 7, 8 na. So ito, pagdating sa year 12, Control C, magiging, oops, wala na. Control Z, Control C. Let me just illustrate kasi explain ko. Control C. So magiging ganito siya dito. Pagdating ng 12, yung 17,000, madadagdag dun yung 9,2. So magiging 7,8 na lang. So Control C, Control D, oops. Control C, Control D, right. Control D, Control D. So parang uulit siya ng uulit. Ay, mali na. No? Nakakalito to eh. Pagdating ng 6, so, ano yun, no? 12, and then 18, mali na to. Pagdating ng 18, Control D. Control C. Dito na dapat siya. 18. Pagdating ng 24, dito na ulit. Pagdating ng 30, yan. Pagdating ng 36, din naman. Okay? So, maging ganito yung cash flow. And then it should be 120. Bakit 120? Kasi what we're going to do is dapat itong mga cash flows na to, pare-pareho silang 120. Because 120 is our least common denominator. Okay, so we'll not go into that kasi mabusisi yun, no? At saka 4 na projects yan, so mahirap. So there's a shortcut for that. Okay, let me pause for a while. Do you understand what I was doing? Rating ko Si Project A, 6 years lang yan. Si Project B, 4 years. Si Project F, C, 5 years. So we cannot compare them kasi kakaibang years sila. So dapat, ang gagawin natin, uulitin natin tong cash flow na to in such a way na pare-pareho sila. Okay, and we were able to show that ang common sa kanila yung 120. So ito, uulitin natin to ng 100 up to 120 years. Okay? So kunyari ito, yan, pagdating ng year 6, yung year 6 magiging year 0 na naman yan. So uulitin natin ng yung 9 to dito. Kaya ako i-add yung 9 to negative 9 to tsaka 17,000. Okay, so uulitin yan, uulitin hanggang maging 120 years. Ganon din to. No? Okay, pagdating dito sa year 4, yung 6,500, i-add natin dito sa 50,000. Then we keep on repeating the process hanggang maging 120 years. Para maging pareho na yung years ni Project A, Project B, Project C, at saka Project D. Lahat 120 years. Alright? So, that's very cumbersome. No? Hindi ganun yung magandang way kasi buti sana kung a few years lang. And by the way, you call it equipment replacement method. Call it equipment replacement method. And it's a brute force method. Kasi, ulit-ulitin natin yung mga cash flows natin to such point na dapat pare-pareho na sila. Alright, so the faster way is computein natin yung NPV nila. Okay, so here, NPV. Ang NPV ni Project A will be, ang rate natin is 12%. Diba? So no need to fix this kasi ikakopy natin pa kanan. So that's 12%. And then value niya is, remember NPV starts with year 1. Hindi natin sinasama si year 0. And then isama na natin itong 7 and 8. Okay lang kasi 0 naman yan. So that we can copy the formula to the right to include si D. Kasi si D may cash flow sa 7 and 8. Okay? And then we know that we have to add the initial investment fee. Okay, so that's the formula for the net present value. Control Enter. So the net present value for project A is 6692.93. No? If we copy this to the right, okay, we know that based on the cash flows here, mas malaking yung cash flow si D kasi mas maraming siya, di ba, years. Okay, so if we're going to base it here, project D is better. Why is project D better? Kasi siya yung pinakamalaking yung net present value. However, we cannot do that. We cannot base it on the net present value kasi nga magkakaiba silang term, magkakaiba silang time ng cash flow. Okay, so medyo biased dun kay D kasi mas marami siyang cash flow. So, what we need to do is to annualize this. So, paano natin siya i-annualize? Okay. This is how you annualize, no? Okay. Let me just copy this. Control C. Nalagay ko siya dito, ha? Okay, take a look at what I'm doing. I'm now creating an annuity of 1. No? Ito si A, B, C, D. Si A, diba, 6. Okay? Hindi nakasama itong 0. I'm sorry. So, dapat wala to. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, what am I doing? I'm creating now an annuity of 1. Okay? So, kukumputin natin yung present value nito. Si project A, B, A, B, C, D. Okay? So, I created an annuity of 1. Si A for 6 years, si B for 4 years, si C for 5 years, and si D for 8 years. Okay? So, let's compute for the present value. We call it present value. Okay, we call it PV, interest factor, annuity of 1. Right? So, kunin natin yung present value nitong annuity of 1. So, that's what we call here PVIAF1. Okay? We can get it here or we can get it directly dito. Sige, gawin muna natin dito. Okay, so what's the present value of this annuity? So, kukunin natin si negative PV. Okay, what's the rate? Ang rate is 12%. Diba? So, we'll be copying that to the right. PV. Negative. Yung problema yung mouse ko. PV. Rate is itong 12%, comma. Okay. Rate. And then N per. What's our N per? N per natin, kung ilang years yung may 1. So dito, 6, dito 4, dito 5, dito 8. So hindi naman natin pa pwedeng i-ano, no? What's the best way to just use one formula tapos ito 6, ito 4, ito 5. Kasi pwede natin i-type kaso iisa-isahin natin yun. Okay, so the best way to do this is use the count function. Count, may count A. So ano si count A? Counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Okay, so the good thing about this is that I can now highlight this. Okay, count A ko, yung buo. Tapos ang bibilangin lang niya yung may laman. Yan. So pag kinopy ko to the right, kahit na naka-highlight lahat, ang bibilangin lang niya yung 4 dito, dito 5, dito 8, no? Okay? So, yun yung enter, kama, ang PMT natin 1. Kasi this is an annuity of 1. And then walang future value. Okay? And then ignore the type kasi this is an annuity ordinary. Yan. Close natin. Okay? Control enter. Alright, then copy to the right. Sige, let me flash again the formula. Yan, sige. I'll give you a few seconds to work on that. And kindly chat, please, if you are able to get these values. Yan.
Hello.
Yes.
Can I see the previous example, sir?
What's the previous example? Dito? MPV?
Oh yes, this one, the MPV, sir. I think
Okay.
yeah, I think my formula is wrong. I'll just
Sige. Okay lang.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. And kindly chat, please, if you are able to get the present value of an annuity of 1. Okay, good. Kompleto na ba tayo? Are we complete? Has everybody gotten this? Of course, we expect that the present value of the project D would be greater kasi it has 8 years. So if you have an annuity of 1 for 8 years, definitely the present value will be higher. Okay, so let's replicate that here. Let's replicate that here is equal to negative PV. Just as a practice, negative PV. The rate is 12% here, right? I'm not going to fix that because we're going to copy the formula to the right. PV and then N per, once again, we use the count A. Okay, this is convenient because we can now, okay, so we'll be just asking Excel to count how many years this is. Don't include the 0 because we don't count starting with 0 because this is 6 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do not include 0. And then we're including these empty cells, but that will not be counted because it's count A stands for count whatever is not blank. Okay. I'm going to close this, count A, and then comma. What's next? PMT. PMT is 1, right? So it's an annuity of 1. Annuity of 1. There, PMT. And then future value, ignore, wala namang future value, and type ignore because this is annuity ordinary. There. Okay? So what we're doing here is we're getting the present value. If this was an annuity of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 for 6 years, the present value of that will be equal to 4.11, same as this one. Okay, we just replicated the formula here, and then we copy to the right. There. 4.11, 3.04, 4.97. Okay? And we expected that the present value of an annuity of 1 will be highest for project D. Okay, now that we have computed for the present value interest factor of an annuity of 1, we can now compute for the annualized net present value. The annualized net present value is just getting the quotient or dividing the net present value by the present value of an annuity of 1. There, we divide it. Okay, this turns out to be it's like the average annual net present value. And then we copy it to the right. Right? So we now have here values that represent the annualized net present value. So based on the annualized net present value, which is this one, what now turns out to be the better alternative? So it turns out that project B is the better alternative by virtue of having the higher annualized net present value. So it's wrong to compare this net present values. It's wrong to do that because all of them have different time frames. Okay, this will be biased to that project which is longer, because definitely it will have, chances are it will have the higher net present value because it has higher cash flows, right? Okay, and it will be biased against project B because it has the lower number of years. However, it turns out here that project B is even better based on the annualized net present value. Okay, so when you have projects like this, when you have unequal lives, what you have to do is to compute for the net present value and then compute for the present value interest factor of an annuity of 1. Okay, so how did we compute this? The idea is create an annuity. Okay, this is an annuity of 1 and get the present value depending on the number of years. So if the project has a higher let's say term project life, then it will of course have the higher present value interest factor, right? But that is to be divided to your net present to determine the annualized net present. And the final answer here is that project B is better based on the annualized net present. Okay. All right. Questions, Quas? Any clarifications? So this will appear in your exams. No? I'm going to give you, for example, different projects. They have different lives. How do you determine which project is the best? Okay. Of course, if these projects were mutually independent, all will be okay. Right? If these projects were independent, then all of them will be okay because they all have the positive net present value. Okay, but if they're mutually exclusive, the choice is only one. And here the choice is based on that annualized, this is annualized net present value. And we determine it by dividing the net present value by the present value interest factor of an annuity of 1. All right. So questions, class? Kindly chat, please, if you were able to follow along. If the concept is clear about annualized net present value. Okay, so most probably class next Tuesday, we'll be meeting face to face, and then we'll have our exams. Bring of course your computers, because Excel tayo, no? And it will cover what we have discussed in this class. Right, good. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to multiple IRRs. Okay, here, multiple IRRs. Okay, so we have this project, and this project has an initial cash flow of cash outflow of 145. But take note that after the initial cash flow, there's another cash flow, either intermediate or at the end. So if we have cash flows like this, when the cash outflow occurs not only at the beginning but also the net cash flow, there is a net cash outflow not only at the beginning but in a period that's intermediate, either for example year 3, year 4, or at the end, then this might generate into what we call multiple IRRs. This is where the guess comes in. All right. So we want to determine what are the possible IRRs given this type of cash flow. Okay, so here let's insert let's have different weighted average cost of capital from 0% to 40% increments of 2. Okay, so let's see 0% here. Okay, let me just format the cells here. Let me make it 16 or 18. Okay, here 0%. Then if you recall it right, class, uh, under home we can create this series. This one under editing. So we have home and then editing. You have this series, right? You have to make sure that your first active cell is in the 0%. And then we want to create a series in columns. And then the step value is, let's say, 2%. And then step value is 40%. So we would like to create a series of numbers where the weighted average rate cost of capital ranges from 0% down to 40% increments of. Okay, so it now created this series from 0% to 40%. Okay, are you able to follow? Kindly chat, please, if you were able to follow. Okay, thank you. All right, good. Okay, so we're now going to compute for the net present value. Net present value based on a WACC of 0%, 2%, 4%, 6%, etc. Okay, so let's do that. So NPV is equal to, all right, so we can easily compute using the NPV function. Our rate is this one, okay, so it's variable. And then our cash flows is this one, right? And then we fix that. We have to fix, oops, sorry, C8 to C4, and then I have to fix we have to fix the rows, okay? We have to fix the rows. We don't need to fix the column because we're going to copy the formula down. So no need to fix column C. We just need to fix rows 4 up to 8. All right? So those are the values. Oops. Control Z. And then remember we have to add the initial cash outflow there. And then we also fix the row. Okay. All right, so Control Enter. We now have the we now have the net present value, and then I double click this. All right. Okay, please kindly chat if you were able to compute for the net present value given the different levels of your weighted average cost of capital. Kindly chat, please, if you were able to do that. Okay, good. All right. So two more students. Feel free to ask questions if you were not able to follow along. We will entertain questions. We want everyone to be able to do this. Okay, good. All right, I hope everybody was able to get it. Now, if you take a look at this, notice that your net present value at 0% it's negative, at 2% it's negative, at 4% it's positive. Okay, so this means that at 4% the project is okay. However, once we reach this point, at 30% it's okay, and then at 32% it's no longer okay. So you can see here that the net present value changes from project is okay up to project is not okay. Project is okay from if we make this 3%, okay, maybe we can let's do this. Let's insert here 3%. 3%, and let's copy this down. All right, so it's still not okay if it's 3%. Okay, later on we'll see what this figure is. And then this one also, let's add here 31%. Let's see if this is 31%, will the project be still okay? Okay, let me copy this format. Okay, no, it's not okay because the NPV is 0.64%. Now you notice that there's an inflection here. Okay, between 3% and 4%, you notice that there's a change in the decision from the project not being okay to being okay. So we would want to determine what is this point when there is a change in the decision. Okay, and we know that the net present value, okay, and the IRR is that rate of return where the net present value is 0. Okay, do you recall that, class? The IRR is the net present value IRR is that rate of return where the net present value is 0. Okay, so let's compute for the IRR. Okay, and I have here IRR1 and IRR2 because there's a possibility that there are two IRRs. In fact, we were able to show it here. Diba? There's another inflection here. 30% okay yung NPV, 31% hindi na. So somewhere between 30 and 31%, you'll have the NPV equal to 0. Okay, which is also another IRR. Okay? Because we said that the IRR is that rate of return where the net present value is 0. And we seem to have two. We seem to have two here. One here. Okay, so between 3% and 4%, you have the net present value equal to 0. And also between 30% and 31%, you'll also have another NPV that's equal to 0. Okay, so let's run this IRR. Okay. You just increase the size so that you can see. Okay, so this is equal to IRR. Okay, so for IRR, it's okay. You can include the initial value. And then take note, there's a guess here. Guess. So you can have an initial value guess, let's say 4%. Because based on this one, between 3% and 4%. Therefore, okay, now we see that the first IRR is 3.91%. Okay, so we'll copy that in a while. So we can increase this if we want, increase the decimal place. Okay, so it's 3.90 something, and then we can look for the next IRR. How do we know there's a next IRR? Take a look at this. Diba sa cash flow natin, there's another transition from a positive NPV to a negative NPV, which means that between 30 and 31%, you will have an NPV that's equal to 0. Okay, so let's do that. It's equal to IRR. Okay, values the same here. And then let's guess yung close na dito. Okay, we can put a guess that's equal to 30%, close to the inflection here. All right, Control Enter, and then we have this one. So that's the next IRR, 30 point. Okay, let me just add another. So around 30.2837 something. All right, let me pause for a while, and then I'll ask. I'd like to ask you if you were able to follow the computation for the IRR1, IRR. Kindly chat, please. Yes, if you were able to compute for IRR1 and IRR2. Okay, and please take note that multiple IRRs will occur if you have cash flows that are negative, aside from the year 0. Okay. I hope you're able to follow, class. Yung iba. Okay. Formula for IRR2. Sige. Formula for IRR2. Ito. So, values natin, lahat ng cash flow din. Tapos, yung guess natin, kasi dito, kung ang guess natin, kunyari, ginawa ko lang 10%, which is quite far from this one, 3.9073 pa rin. So, had we not done this one, para magta-trial and error tayo, kung 20% naman yung guess natin, ayun, naging 30.2837 na. Pag ginawa natin yung guess natin 15%, so, 30 na rin, no? 30. Okay? All right. Let me just, may question ba? Why do we have different WACs? This is what we call sensitivity analysis. Kasi hindi natin alam yung WAC, di ba? Pwede kasi ang WAC, depende sa company yun eh. It differs really. So here we're looking at what if the WAC was 4%? Ano yung NPV niya? What if the WAC was 18%? Ano yung NPV niya? What if the WAC was 28%? Di ba valid naman ang question yun, di ba? Kasi hindi natin alam kung ano yung WAC. So we can generate a list of WACs. Okay, did that answer your question? I'll just get water, class. Yeah. Okay. Jillian, did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's a good question, no? And this is what we call sensitivity analysis. Makikita natin dito for different levels of WACC, we have different values of net present value. Ba? Ang net present value kasi dependent on the weighted average cost of capital yan. Aside of course from the cash flow. Now, if you have different weighted average cost of capital, you'll have different values of NPV. And syempre, ang gusto natin, yung mga NPVs na ganito, no? Yung mga positive. There. Okay, we don't want the NPVs to be negative. So, ilalagay natin to dito, yung IRR, ipapasok natin dito. Okay? So, yung 3.9073, it's between 3% and 4%. So, let me insert here. Insert ko siya. Okay? And then, I'm going to equate this equal to ito, no? Yung unang IRR natin. Yan. This is our first IRR. And if I copy this down, yung formula ng NPV, di ba, kita mo zero, di ba? Kasi alam natin, class, that the IRR is that rate of return, is that WACC in this case, where the net present value is zero. So zero nga siya, tama. No? As expected to. No? Zero yung NPV. And then dito din ipasok natin itong 30.2837. So I'm going to insert a space here and then i-equate ko. Note, I'm not typing it. Ini-equate ko dun sa formula. And then lagyan ko lang ng red color para alam ko na ito. In-insert natin. And then copy the formula and NPV doon. Zero siya. So as expected, at IRR of 30.2837 plus pa something, our net present value is zero. At an IRR of 3.9073, okay, the net present value is equal to zero. Now again, bakit naging dalawa yung IRR? We have two IRRs because when the cash flow has an initial negative sa simula, tapos meron pang negative ulit after the initial, kunwari sa year 3, sa year 4, o sa the end, then chances are meron tayong multiple IRRs. Okay? And let's plot this. Tingnan natin kung ano yung magiging itsura ng plot natin. I'm going to highlight this, yung WACC at saka NPV natin. So insert natin, and then ito na lang scatter plot, and then ito na lang i-ano natin there. Alright? So plot natin siya. Okay. Alright. Tanggalin ko lang yung ano. So, maybe it's maganda kung ano, kung color natin. Yan. Mas kita ba? Anyway, it's up to you to really decide kung ano yung chart design na gusto nyo dito. Maybe I'll just use that. And let me increase this. Okay. All right. So we have here the NPV profile. Ang tawag natin dito, NPV profile. Capital letters natin. NPV profile. Kaya natin. Oops. Okay. So we can see here that ano to? This is the plot between this is your NPV and this is your IRR. Sabi natin, gusto natin na yung NPV dapat positive, di ba? Yung NPV na positive, ito yon. Kasi ito yung x-axis natin, di ba? NPV na positive ito. Right? So ang mga negative natin na NPV ito. This one. So what's our conclusion? If the weighted average cost of capital is less than or equal to, is less than, ano yun? 3 point, approximate na natin, ano? 3.90, 3.91 na lang, round off na lang. Okay, then reject project. Okay, take a look at this. If the weighted average is less than 3.91%, then reject natin yung project natin. No? Tapos, if the weighted average also is greater than 30.28%, diba? Pag mas malaki siya kaysa 30.28%, negative yung NPV natin. Dito yun, no? Here. Okay, any weighted average cost of capital that's greater than 30 point something percent, pababa na yung, ano, no? Pababa na yung NPV natin, negative na yun. So if the weighted average cost of capital is greater than 30.28%, let me just round that off, 30.28%, then we also reject the project, no? Right? And then here we can say that any WACC between if yung 3.91% and then say greater than equal to, and then WACC greater than and less than, greater than, sorry, this is 30.28. 30.28. Okay, if it's greater than 30.28. So dapat yung WACC natin, it should be, so ganito pala, if 30.28 is less than, wait, ano ba yun? 3.91% is greater than or equal to WACC, and then it's greater than 30.98. Okay, di ba to? If WACC is greater than, tama ba yung ano ko? WACC is, mali yata. I think this should be WACC is greater than or equal to, and then less than or equal to yun. Sorry. Yan. Yun ang tama, no? If WACC is between 3.91% and 30.28%, then the project is feasible. Okay? Then the firm, the company, is indifferent if WACC is equal to IRR 3.28, 3.91% or 30.28%. Take a look at our conclusion. 22. Yan. Okay? So ito yung ano natin, no? Let me increase the size para mas kita natin. So if the WACC is less than 3.91%, dito yun, di ba? less than 3.91%, reject natin. We're going to reject it because the NPV will be negative. And from 3.91% and below, and if WACC is less than 3.91%, then reject the project. If WACC is greater than 30.28, ganun din. If it's greater than around 30.28%, then reject the project also because at these rates of return, diba, the NPV will be negative. So, yan. And between these two, ayan, diba? Between yung 3.91 at saka 30.28, acceptable yung project. Because between those two, the NPV is positive. And then the company is indifferent if WACC is 3.91 or 30.28. Ano ibig sabihin indifferent? Whether or not they accept it, it doesn't matter. Right? Why doesn't it matter? Class? Why doesn't it matter? Bakit indifferent yung company? Class? Hello? Hello? Bakit indifferent yung company? Why, class? Why? Hello, class? Why is the company indifferent if the weighted average cost of capital is either 3.91%, which is IRR1, or equal to 30.28%, which is IRR2, approximately?
Sir, since the NPV is 0 po.
Okay? Yes. Tama, no? So, if the NPV is 0, ibig sabihin, enough lang to recover your cash outflows. So, the present value of your cash outflows is equal to the present value of your cash inflows. Okay? So, since the net present value is 0 at those rates of return, then whether the company pushes to with the project or not, it doesn't matter. So, indifferent yung company dun. Will they push with the project? It's okay. Will the company not push with the project? It's also okay. So that's what we mean by indifferent, because the net present value is equal to 0. Of course, there are other factors that might enter the picture. Kunyari, the company is just new in the industry, tapos they would like to establish a let's say, track record. Of course, pag ganyan, gawin, di ba? Kasi that will mean that they have a track record of doing a particular project. Okay, so maraming hindi lang, it's not only this, no? It's not only this factor. The company has to look at other areas of concern. Okay? All right. Any questions about this, class? Clarifications about our multiple IRRs? No questions? Okay. Good. All right, last, let's do this crossover. Okay. So we have here two projects, Project S and Project L. And the WACC is, lagyan natin ito ng pangalan. Let's give this a name. Let's call it WACC 1. Dito, Control, Shift F3. Okay, left column. Okay, so may pangalan na yung natin, no? Yung WACC natin. Okay, so this is Project S, this is Project L. The same lang yung nila, yung initial investment, tapos magkaibang cash flow sila. Now, we would like to know kung which project is better. Okay, so outright makikita natin na mukhang mas maganda si Project S kasi yung initial cash inflow natin dito, 500. But let's see. So let's compute for the NPV. Okay, so we can do this quickly because I know you have mastered already yung NPV natin is equal to NPV. Our rate is WACC 1. Itong 10% na to, no? Values is this one. right? And then plus the initial investment. So that's our NPV for project S, control enter. And then we just copy this to the right. Okay. So if we look at this, para mas okay si para mas okay si project L. Kasi NPV niya 100.4. Okay, so let's compute for the IRR. IRR values, ito lang, no? Those are the values. Guess, can ignore that kasi isa lang naman yung cash outflow. No? Kahit ilang beses pang gamitin yung guess na yan, wala tayong makukuha ibang IRR. 14.5 and then this one, 13.5. So we can see here that in terms of NPV, Project L is better. But in terms of IRR, Project S is better. So medyo may conflict sila. And we know that based on, we will base it on NPV. Okay, so but anyway, let's compute for MIRR. So your MIRR is the values, comma, and then the finance rate is of course your WAC1, diba? And then your reinvestment rate is still your WAC1. Okay, so that's our MIRR. Control enter, 12.1 vis-a-vis, okay, 12.7. So we were expecting that the MIRR will agree with the net present value. So project L in this case is better than project S based on the net present value. Okay, so far, class? Questions? Any questions about our computation for NPV, IRR, MIRR? Pakichat naman please kung nakuha yung NPV, IRR. All right? Okay, so very good. Okay, now we're going to, again, do sensitivity analysis. So mag-create tayo ng WAC from, hindi nakalagay dito, but let's see, WAC 0%, and then mag-create ulit tayo 0%. Let's do fill series, and then gawin natin na columns, tapos step value natin, sige, 1%, and then stop value natin, okay, pwede natin gawin 40%, or maybe 35%, subukan natin. So it will now create a series of yung WAC natin from 0%, mag-increment ng 1% hanggang 35%. Either you know. Okay, hanggang 35%. Mamaya tingnan natin kung kailangan pa hanggang 35%. Pwedeng bawasan natin. Okay, so what are we going to do with this? We will now compute for the NPV. NPV ni Project S at saka NPV ni Project L based on this WAC. Okay, so let's compute for the NPV of Project S. This is equal to NPV. All right, our rate is ang WAC natin, no? And then I'll be fixing if i-fix natin yung, kasi ikakopy natin to pakanan din, no? Kasi ito yung WAC pareho. So we will have to fix the column. Fix natin yung column para hindi siya aalis dito sa column na to. Okay? All right, so that's our rate. And our values are, ang values natin nandito, no? Si Project S. Okay, ito. Then I'm going to fix if you fix ko si, okay, kasi kakopy ko yung formula pababa, no? So dapat naka-fix si row. Tama? And then I add the initial investment. If you fix ko din si row. Yan. Okay, let me check. Tanggalin natin, pag kinopya kasi natin ito, lalabas din yung ano, no? Let me delete din. Remove the field. Yan. Okay? So let me pause for a while. Any questions? Were you able to get the NPV? NPV ni Project S, tsaka NPV ni Project L, that's at 0%. Then, I can now click this, pababa, para lumabas yung mga NPVs. And then, control 1, i-format ko siya para yung negative dito, magiging parenthesis. There, para kita natin yung mga negative. Ito yung mga negative. No? Okay, so bawasan ko ng ano class para hindi masyadong marami. Kasi negative na siya dito yun. Diba? Pagdating dito sa 24, 25, lahat negative na. No? So let's just make it up to 24% na lang para dito may inflection dito. I'll just make it up to 24%. Maybe 25%. Kasi from 20, negative na lahat. Eh. Okay, so let me just decrease the WACC 25%. Okay. All right. Any questions so far, class? Any questions dito sa table natin? Paki-chat naman kung clear so far. Okay, thank you, Rhea. About the others, were you able to follow along? Na-compute ba natin yung NPV ni Project S? So NPV to NPV ni S, tsaka NPV ni L. Parehong NPV yan. L, okay. All right, then let's insert yung mga IRRs. No? We were able to compute for the IRR. Diba? Ito. So, ang IRR ni S is 14.49. So, let me insert that here. Dito. Okay, ilalagay ko dito. Right? This is equal to this one, 14.49. So, lagyan ko to ng color. Okay, para alam ko na this is yung IRR ni, this is the IRR of S, no? And then I copy the formula here. Okay, if you take a look at the IRR of S, mas okay siya, diba? Mas okay siya si S kaysa kay L. And then also, let's insert the IRR of L. Itong 13.55, so it should be here. Between 13 and 14%. Okay, so I'm going to insert 13 point, equate it here. So I'm not typing it class, I'm equating kasi hindi naman exactong 13.5 yan. And then copy this one. Okay, so you can see here that the value here is 0, diba? Kasi if you recall class, diba, ang NPV will generate, ang IRR will generate an NPV of 0. Here, the IRR of project S is 14.49, and we were expecting that to be equal to 0. Okay, so far, right? Then we can, of course, we can also include here the MIRR. If we so want, we can include MIRR. All right, but let's not include that anymore. All right. Then we will have to compute for the indifference point. The indifference point is that WACC where you don't care whether you choose project S or project L. Okay, so how do we compute for that? How do we compute for that indifference point? Okay, so let's let's compute for that, no? So our NPV is equal to, let's call this indifference, let's call it indifference point. Okay, I'm giving this a name, indifference point. Yan. So gusto natin ma-compute to, ano to indifference point na to? Okay, so that hindi natin we couldn't care less whether we choose project S or project L. So how do we compute for that? So compute natin yung NPV. NPV, all right? The rate is this one, yung indifference point na yan. Okay, and the values for L, for S is this one, right? And then plus the initial investment, okay? And then we copy it to the right. This is also NPV of indifference point, ito siya. Tapos, ang cash flow, D5 to D8, plus the initial investment. Okay. Follow so far, class? So ito, gusto natin malaman kung anong rate of return, anong WACC dapat nito para equal lang silang dalawa. Right? If this was, let's say, 3%, hindi equal no? Gusto natin, yung indifference point natin, as the name suggests, dapat equal yung NPV nila. So what do we do? What do we do? Delete muna natin yan. So we get the difference between the two. NPV of S minus NPV of L. Okay? So dapat yung NPV ni S minus NPV ni L should be what? Should be how much, class? For this one to be an indifference point. Anyone? What should be the difference between NPV ni S at saka NPV ni L so that that really becomes an indifference point? Anyone, please?
175, sir.
175. Bakit 175? Kailan magiging indifferent tayo to choosing project S or project L? When will we become indifferent? Ang ibig sabihin indifferent, plus, it doesn't matter whether you choose project S or project L. Okay lang kasi pareho lang naman yung NPV nila. Diba? So what should be the difference between the NPVs of L and S? Plus, dapat actually I gave already the answer. No? Dapat plus ano? Rating ko yung indifference point or yung difference rate is that rate of return, is that WACC, no? Where it doesn't matter whether we choose project S or project L. Okay? Dito kasi makikita natin, no? Sino mas maganda? Ibe-base natin sa NPV. At 0%, mas maganda si L. Ba? Kasi 475 yung NPV niya. At 9%, mas maganda pa rin si L. But as we go on here, diba? Pagdating dito, mas maganda pa rin si L. Pagdating dito si L. Pero pagdating dito si si S. Tingnan nyo. Diba? Pag 13% na yung WACC, mas okay na si S. Kasi mas mataas na yung niya, yung NPV. 24.98, si L 14.65. So back to my question. At what point will we have an indifference point? Anong difference ng NPV ni S at ni L? Class. Hello. That's an easy question. Ulitin ko. Ang indifference point plus, yun yung rate of return, yun yung WACC na, kumbaga, whether we choose S or whether we choose L, it doesn't matter. No? Okay, so yung indifference point is that point where what? Anong relation ng NPV ni S at saka NPV ni L? Plus. Hello, class. NPV nila will be what? Kailan class, kailan na ano? Kailan okay lang sa atin either project S or project L? Kailan yun? If their NPVs are, guys, it's not even a finance question. It's an elementary question. Kailan okay sa atin either project S or project L? Dapat yung NPV nila ano? Hello class, hello. Just give me one word lang. 5 letters, 5 letters. Class, ano? Dapat ano? EQAL, di ba class? Equal dapat. Yun ang indifference point class. That's napakasimple, di ba? Okay, kung ang NPV ni S 200, ang NPV ni L 200, di okay, pareho lang kasi, di ba? Class, I hope, it's very simple, no? Kung ang NPV ni S 300, ang NPV ni L 300, then anong choice natin? Whatever, di ba? Whatever, kasi pareho lang naman yung NPV nila, di ba? Class, do you get me please? Pakichat naman, oh. Pakichat kung maliwanag yung concept na yon, yung point of indifference natin. Okay, so the answer is equal. Kung equal yung NPVs nila, then it doesn't matter. Choose S or choose L. Walang problema kasi pareho lang naman yung NPV nila. Di ba? Okay, so if their NPV are equal, what will be the difference? Class, what will be the difference if their NPVs are equal? Therefore, dapat yung difference nila 0. Okay? Alright, so yun yung tinatanong ko kanina. Ano dapat yung difference ng NPVs ni S at saka ni L so that we are indifferent to them whether we choose S or L? The difference should be 0. Yun class, yun lang. Yun lang, that's what we were trying to target. Ano ba dapat yung rate na to? Para dapat yung NPVs nila pareho. Kasi kung pareho yung NPVs nila, then we are what we call indifferent to choosing between project S and project L. Okay? So if their NPVs are the same, therefore their difference should be equal to 0. So that's what we want. Ano tong rate na to para equal tong dalawang to? Or if they're the same, dapat yung difference sila 0. So that here, tingnan nyo kinuha ko yung difference, no? NPV ni S minus NPV ni L. So tatarget natin dapat 0 to. Okay, so how are we going to do that? How are we going to target the difference should be 0? Okay, so let's go to data, and then nagawa na natin to dati, data, and then what if analysis and goal seek. Ayan, goal seek dapat. So sa goal seek natin, isi-set cell natin sino? Set cell, sino class? Set cell, this one. Ayan. That one should be what? To what equal? Equal to what? To be equal to 0, di ba? By changing one cell, this cell. Yan. Control Alt Print Screen para mapalabas ko to, no? All right. So, what are we telling Excel? Hanapin niya nga itong rate na to so that the difference between the NP of S and the NP of V of L will be 0. Kailan ba siya magiging 0? Kung magiging equal sila, di ba? Alright, okay. Ayan. Yan ang answer, class. Okay, Control V. Ayan. Ito yung ginolsik natin. Okay, tinan nyo, 0. So at 11.975%, it doesn't matter whether you choose Project S or Project L. Doesn't matter. Okay, kasi they will yield the same NPV, no? So pag pareho NPV nila, yung difference nun 0. So pag 0 yung difference ng NPV nila, wala tayong sukat hanapin. It doesn't matter whether you choose Project S or Project L. Alright? So let's now insert si indifference point natin dito sa mga WACC natin. So I'm going to put it between 11 and 12%. So let me put a space between that.
Sir,
Alright. Yes. Yes.
is it alright if I go na po? My
Yeah,
second...
go na.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you po.
I'll just you may go if you want, if you need to go, no? So I'll just finish this. Those who need to go, all right. So this one, I'm just putting it here. Okay, and also this one, pareho lang dapat yan, no? Indifference point yan, no? Okay. So of course, sorry, mali. So this is the indifference point. This is the, and then if we highlight and we copy that NPV, pareho sila, no? NPV. All right. So let me just conclude this one. Okay. I'm going to highlight all of this. Okay, and then insert, and then here insert this one, plot natin. Yan. I'll let you finish this, class. All right. So medyo ayusin na lang to. What do you find here? Okay. Take a look at this, class. This is Project L, yung red. And you notice this one, what's this one? This is the point of indifference. This is 11.97. Ito yun. So at this point, we don't care whether we choose Project S or Project L because they have the same NPV. But below 11.97, below this one, our choice is Project L. Diba? So below 11.97, mas maganda si Project L. Kasi mas mataas yung NPV niya. Take a look. Below 11.97, okay, Project L will always be greater than Project S. However, beyond 11.97%, mas mataas na si Project S. Okay? So up to where? Up to this point. Yung blue dito si Project S, no? Up to this point. And what's this point? Itong point na to. This is around 14 point something percent. Ito yun. Yung 14.49%. So from 11.97% hanggang 14.49%, Project S is better. Okay? Bakit? Kasi yung NPV niya mas malaki kaysa kay Project L. Alright? And then beyond 14.49%, which is ito, no? Ito yung 14.49%. Greater than 14.49%, pareho silang negative na. Negative yung NPV. Alright, so I just summarize na lang, ano? From 0 to 11.97%, Project L. From 11.97% up to 14.49%, Project S. Okay? At 11.97%, exactly, indifferent yan. Either S or L tayo. Greater than 11.97%, we choose up to 14.49%, Project S. Beyond 14.49%, reject both of the projects kasi parehong mga negative na and net present value. Okay? Yeah, all right. So let me now stop recording. Okay, so